Come on, dogs. All right, let's do the good life meditation for today. This is what I do every morning. First is the objectives. Objective number 1 is to be always ready to die. Have my money, my family, and my art in a state of readiness to go. 2, you want to go that way? He's calling the shots. And this guy doesn't want to walk. 2, hold on, wait for the green light, is the good and effective use of time. To not let the moments slip through my fingers, but to make good life of the moments that I live. 3 is the development and maintenance of good and sound life principles. That's exactly what I'm attempting to recite now. My secular values. 4, the cultivation of good emotional reactions. To get myself into a state where I can react well to what happens through the day without blowing up or losing my cool in any capacity, or as little as possible. Next is the performance of good actions. Just doing good things throughout the day. Good constitutes what improves social welfare of groups and individuals. Let me try putting the doggy down for a second. Next is after the haven't done this type of thing for years, this kind of walking vlog. It takes a kind of a special muscles to do that. Hold on, dog, I'll tangle that. You gonna walk or no? You want me to carry you somewhere? Still want me to carry you? Okay, come on. Next is the performance of good actions. I just did that one. And next is the recognition of true limits and true opportunity. I'm gonna switch hands. What it is that is and is not possible, given the facts of the world. Next is one thing slowly. That's the last objective. Just to do things one thing at a time and slowly. Now let's get on to the 23 principles. The first is the principle of war. To wake up every morning and going to war with everything that I hold true, and everything that you hold true too. To make these things stand up on more than their say-so. 2, the principle of reason, and the sub-principles of honesty, objectivity, and doubt, which are the tools that I use in the execution of that war I mentioned. 3, the homunculus, the imaginary little human being that lives inside my head, who controls my consciousness and who will die when I die. Not anything real, just a reminder that I have no soul and my death will be forever. Next is the home of good and evil. Yeah, good and evil are not written in the stars. They're opinions that we lay upon the circumstances of our world, which are indeed truly subjective, but can become objective when you and I agree. Next is, after the home of good and evil, is the principle of purpose. No. The principle of purpose. That my purpose is, the sub-principles of biology, virtue, and mission. My purpose is, obviously, clearly biology's purpose is to make more of itself. Biology, in that regard, being life, not the biological science. And I also add to that, for myself, the purpose of living a virtuous life, where virtue is defined as the wholesale improvement of well-being for others and myself. Next, and then also but that's not quite enough. That's kind of an interesting, simple life. Have a baby, raise it to maturity, try to live well. I mean, that's plenty. That's fine. But I also like to add to that something more tangible, more immediate, which is the principle of a mission. And currently my mission right now is the digital city that I'm trying to help the city of Ventura make, where I work, in response to the current circumstances. And to another degree, my mission is this, what I do right here, going alone and the good life. Next is the principle of atomic principle. Everything is made of bits and pieces, flowing and changing and forever transforming. So too you and I. Next is the principle, the atomic principle. The principle of nature. Everything has some particular nature to it, some trajectory and course by which its materials and energies and circumstance lead it to move. Let's see if I can put you down. He still hasn't gone pee-pee yet he's after being indoors all night. You ready to keep walking, Rudy? Come on. Well, he's not clever enough to undo himself if he gets tangled. Come on. Not yet. You still want me to carry you? Okay. Come here. You have such a plaintive look. Come on. I never had to carry any dogs in Japan. Carried a little girl for a long time. Next is, after the principle of nature, is the pirate ride. Life is, doesn't appear to be any free will, although the aforementioned nature drives us towards certain circumstance and consequence, and I don't think that we have any ability to make any choice other than the choice we make. It's a curious thing that we're free to make any choice we want, but the choice we make is the only one we could have made. I can't prove this. It's kind of a hunch. I think it's true. Free will is an illusion. Next is the principle of maturity and the sub-principles of wisdom and fortitude. Maturity arrives when we remember the mistakes we've made and the successes. And we have the fortitude to not make the former and to proceed towards the latter. Next is the social principle. We're social animals. We need one another to survive. And our very best ends are social ends when we're striving towards the betterment of one another. And I believe these current circumstances are going to be a great opportunity for us to improve social conditions for our species and others. Next is the principle of public speaking. Basically, the first part of this is to always talk about others as though they're right there with me. This is just a reminder not to gossip or spread trade and rumor, but also to use few words and simple words. And I'm trying to do that right now. Trying not to be my flowery, verbose self. To be a little more plain spoken, and certainly not to gossip. Don't worry, Rudy, I won't talk about you. There's the 5 freeway, southbound. That's the Taco Bell headquarters right there, that white building right there. Next is the Feast of Offal. All the waste and byproduct of our intemperate living, just spread out amongst the world for all to consume. So I wonder why it is that we like to spread our upset and discord. But we do. And then others gobble it up and off they go. But I'm being flowery again. Too many words. Next is the principle of temperance. Suffering, simplicity, and apathy. Temperate life is a humble, simple life. Well, maybe not so humble, but simple. and we're probably going to suffer a little bit when we try to be temperate, because we deny ourselves what we want. And a simple life is a temperate life, because we're restraining ourselves from excess. And apathy, because is that right? Temperate, suffering, simplicity, and apathy. Yeah, apathy, when we recognize the things that are outside of our control. Still no walk? My arm is tired. true limits and true opportunity and principle of nature. It's his nature not to walk unless he wants to. It's a true limit, but it's also a true opportunity for me to be patient with him, to be tempered in my emotions. You know, I'm not upset at him, but if I wanted to be, if I was upset, I could temper that. And it's also an opportunity to be generous, and dare I say, is the word magnanimous in carrying you for an entire 2.5 mile walk. Do you want me to do that? Can't you be like this guy? He'll just walk all day long. Okay, here, let's go. I guess we're being carried. And sometimes you gotta pee, little boy. Temperance, suffering, simplicity, and apathy. Next is the best seat in the house. Do not want to be anyone else, be anywhere else, or be doing anything else, but okay with who I am, where I am, and what I'm doing. All the while striving to improve. Difficult balancing act there. Next, after the best seat in the house is the Path of Wildness. That was the first principle I ever came up with. And that basically states that when an awkward or challenging or difficult decision is to be made, we should set upon ourselves a moment to make the decision, collect the facts, cogitate upon them, and then when that time comes, make the decision. But if we still aren't ready, give ourselves a little time, and then try to make the decision. And if not ready, a little more time, but not forever. Eventually there comes a point where we have to simply say enough and make a decision. And informing our decision making with our gut feelings. Let me switch arms. Oh, you ready to walk? You want to pee? Go for it. You want to take a pee? So let me let him sit for a second. Maybe he'll pee. That's the Path of Wildness. Next is the risk of avoiding risk. There's the deep level risk and the surface level risk of life. The surface level risks are the important stuff like education, job, savings, home, being ready for retirement. And then the deep level risk are the not heeding the little voice in the head that whispers of something more. It's easy to give one up absolutely for the other, and there's consequences to that. Next is a sin and damnation. Nope, I'm not going to walk. And the 5 sub-principles of 5 types of sins, basically. Falsity, credulity, faith, superstition, and dogma, which are all just various forms of believing things without good reason, or a little reason, or just because we wish it was so, or because someone said so. Not good reasons to believe. And then the damnation is living a life believing things without good reasons to believe that may be wrong. I wonder if you're damned even if you believe them and they're right. I think you are still damned even if they're right, because of the lack of of the execution of our critical faculties. I think we become something less in terms of potential, in terms of being an actualized human being. Interesting, that kind of, but if I go down that route, that kind of speaks to actualized towards what, and by what, and by whom. There's always these little avenues that I can see how people arrive at God, but I think they're just easy outs. They're like escape hatches into the imagination. Anyway, back to it. I'm being too wordy. After that, sin and damnation comes the great life adventure. One or more big events that define our lives. It's the type of thing that we go on and on about throughout our life, that define the big events of our life. Something that you did maybe in your early life that kind of just sets the precedent and it sets the stage and the example for everything else, and is the touch point by which all else references. Maybe voyaging on a sailboat around the world, or having. Oh, he's walking now. There we go. Good boy. Having. Oh, she got a shake. I'm trying to think of some good examples. It doesn't have to be an adventure necessarily, but it kind of does. It needs to be something that breaks from the course of our lives, the set course of our lives. I always seem to think about like soldiers in World War II that came back, and to whom, even though it was a war, it was terrible, to whom that experience kind of defined their existence. They were always soldiers. There always something about that. Or maybe it could be experiencing the Great Depression, that gave us a sense of frugality and of remembrance of hard times. These are kind of adventures that were imposed upon these people, but we can do it ourselves too. Like if I had to had my 20s over again, probably would have been more of a hobo or vagabond. Are you pooping or peeing? You guys don't need to see that. Let me get out the bag just in case. What you got there? Oh, you manufactured some goods. Okay, hold on. Let me clean that up. Good boy. Good boy. Now suddenly he's all over the place. He's walking. He's doing his business. Come on, boys, let's go. Next, after the Great Life Adventure, which I really think it's good if we have one or at least one, preferably more of those. We can do micro adventures. My trips to Siberia are that sort of thing. For my wife and I, we just celebrated our anniversary yesterday. The very fact of our being together was that adventure. The multiple lives that we've lived on either side of the Pacific. Each time a new adventure, a domestic adventure, in a way that we really like. I'm closing in on the end now. After the Great Life Adventure comes the season of philosophy, the time of life to record the ideas that come of the life that we lived. I wonder if you have those ideas if you didn't have too many adventures. I wonder if you've got much to say if you just lived safe and sane. I kind of don't think so. Maybe I think that's a dilemma that can come, to be suddenly in your 50s and realize you got nothing to say. A lot of people don't care if they have anything to say, but maybe you want to leave some mark upon the world, some like Emerson would say, to scratch above the door lintels, whim, even if it be whim, but hopefully something more. I don't know. I don't think there's much to say if you didn't live. There's not much remarkable to say if you didn't live much of a remarkable life. Come on, boys. No, we can't go that way. They want to go down towards Costco, but that's social distancing. Come on, gotta go this way. Come on. It's Ollie, the black dog, that's resisting. I just gotta drag him a little bit. He just gave up. They want to go. I usually take them that way. We walk all through the shopping areas, but clearly can't be doing that. Next, almost done. The season of philosophy. After that, there's 3 more. That is the bullseye aim, going for things in life, going for that center aim, and missing the mark. The next is, just a reminder that, so often we try for things and we'll miss the mark. And that's all right to miss the mark. It's really like playing darts and expecting a bullseye every time. It's not always going to be a bullseye. Sometimes we're going to not even hit the board. Next is the principle, and this is one it's a relatively new one. It's one of the newest ones. But I like it, but I don't think it conveys much or means much to anyone but me, which is I call it the uphill. First I called it the uphill climb, and then I started calling it the open ocean swim. And it's a little bit like the Path of Wildness, but I'm struggling whether to keep it or not. And it refers to the uphill challenge of life, which is kind of a simple pedestrian idea. No, we can't go that way. Come on, boys. Social distancing. But I find it satisfying to remind myself every day, the uphill climb. Because lately, especially, every day at work is an uphill climb. So it's challenging times. Yeah, and then I started rephrasing it as the open ocean swim, imagining myself swimming around the Ventura Pier, out around the outer edge there in the deep open water there, and the choppy waves just continue to pound through. Just kind of get through the day, Kurt. You can do it. I'll probably keep it, but I don't know if that principle will serve far beyond my own selfish interests. That one's mainly just for me, I guess. Although sometimes I might be surprised. Last one, the arena and utility. Life is an arena for the execution, for living, and the execution of our principles in pursuit of our objectives. But that's all just arbitrary. I mean, we could just live and sit on a rock, and that would be fine. As far as the universe goes. Oh, okay. He really wants to go this way. We'll go that way. It's early enough. I don't think there's going to be anybody standing outside of Walmart right now. And this guy's walking like a champ. Look at him. Good job, Rudy. And that's it. That's my good life meditation for the day. I do this every single day. The next thing I do after this, it's first thing I do when I start the day. The next thing I do is I read a chapter of the Bible. And today it's Numbers 34. I think I'm almost done with Numbers. Although I was tempted to read again Numbers 33. It's interesting chapters. There's little bits in here that I'm finding interesting. This is where God is beginning to parcel up the promised land to the people. And always in my mind I'm thinking, well, what about all the people that already live there? Doomed, I say. That's what they get for not being the chosen people. All right, take care, everybody. Be safe, but not too safe. Bye-bye.